good. They move. When you get to about 35 weeks, however, then you want the baby to be head down. Today doesn't matter. And we're going to start off by looking at the top of the baby's head. When I look at the top of the head, the first thing I want to make sure is that the calvarium, the skull bone, is beautifully round. It is. There's no pinching of the frontal bone. That would be a neural tube defect. Spina bifida, we don't have it. Good. No roll of fat behind the head. A roll of fat behind the head is a cystic hygroma. Down syndrome, Turner's syndrome, we don't have that either. This is the choroid plexus, and it occupies a space called the lateral ventricle. And the ventricle should always be less than 11 millimeters. And this one is 7.5 millimeters. So there's no water on the brain, no hydrocephaly. In back of the baby's head is a structure called the cerebellum. And whenever we look at the cerebellum, it should be straight across the back of the baby's head. It should never be crescentic or banana-shaped. If it were banana-shaped, spina bifida. But no, this one goes straight across. And its diameter in millimeters is 19.8. Usually the diameter of the cerebellum is the age of the baby, so almost 20 weeks, 20 millimeters. Behind the vermis of the cerebellum is a space, the cisterna magna. It is not dilated, no posterior fossa fluid. And in front of the baby's head is a very small space with a very big name called the cavum septum pellucidum. Normal. All normal. Good. As we go along, we're going to measure a lot of things. We're going to measure the head, the body, the arms, the legs. Whenever somebody does a sonogram, they're always measuring your baby. But they measure the baby so they can tell you how old it is. I know that when babies are sick, they tell you. They tell you because they don't meet expected interval growth, they don't weigh the right amount, and they don't fit together properly. And that's what we're going to look for. Now the baby keeps its hands by its face. There is the left hand, and we see 4 fingers and a thumb. And what's important about this picture is that the fingers on the baby's hand are open. Babies with certain genetic problems, trisomy 13 and 18, have overlapping fingers in a clenched fist. They can't open their hands. Your baby can. The little right hand is over here. There's the left, and here's the right. And there's the fingers on that hand. 4 fingers and a thumb. And again, the hand is open. Now, the baby will take that hand, stick it in its mouth, suck on its thumb. They suck on their thumb so that they can introduce the fluid that surrounds them into their body. And when a fetus sucks on its thumb and nothing is blocking the way, no esophageal atresia or duodenal atresia, the baby swallows the fluid, fills up the stomach, goes to the kidney, fills up the bladder. And when the fetus gets a full bladder, it pees it out. And that's where the amniotic fluid comes from, baby pee-pee. Now we're going to measure how much fluid is around the baby. We're going to go to 4 quadrants. We're going to measure the depth of fluid, and it has to be greater than 5, less than 24. This is quadrant 3, and here is quadrant 4. Greater than 5, less than 24, and we get 15. Good. Normal amount of fluid. The zipper is the baby's spine. These are the well-regimented vertebrae. Each one of the bony structures correctly aligned. The caliper of the neural tube consistent throughout its length. But we knew that already because there was no pinching of the frontal bone and the cerebellum was straight. Great. Kidneys are almost invisible when they're normal. We're going to come over here. That's the stomach right over here. And inferior to the stomach is the left kidney. And there is no pylectasis, no hydronephrosis. That means there is no abnormal fluid in the renal pelvis of either kidney. If there were fluid in the kidneys, we would worry about an obstruction, an infection, a baby with Down syndrome. They have fluid in the kidneys. The heart. The heart is a very difficult structure, but it's my favorite thing to look at. And we're going to come in here and we're going to start out with the 4-chambered view of the heart. This is the left ventricle, right atrium, left atrium. When you can see a 4-chambered heart, you have eliminated 70% of the structural abnormalities, like a hypoplastic heart. You've also eliminated 50% of Down syndrome babies who have AV canals. This is the blood going through both ventricles. And when the blood is in the right and left ventricle, none of the blood is coming across the septum. So the baby does not have a hole in the heart, a ventral septal defect. If it did, we would see a blue line coming right across the red, perpendicular to the red. We're also going to look at the outflow tracts of the heart. The outflow tract from the left is the aorta, from the right the pulmonary, and they cross each other. So there is no transposition of the great vessels. Great. We don't want that. These are the beautiful valves of the heart, the tricuspid and the mitral. They're called the wings of the gull because they look like bird wings flapping. This is the left ventricle outflow tract, normal, good. And we want to see the right ventricle outflow tract. It comes the other way. There it is. And that's the right ventricle outflow tract. Good. Listen to how fast the baby's heart beats. 120 to 180, and the kid is motoring down the road 158 beats a minute. Normal for them, too fast for you and me. The insertion of the cord in the ventral wall, you call it the belly button. That's where the cord comes into the baby's body. And where it comes in, there is no omphalocele, no gastroschisis, no hernia. Good. I like to look at it a different way, though. We're going to watch the blood come through the cord into the body, and we want to see if it bifurcates. That means goes in 2 directions. So we come up, there it is, and it comes in, and it goes in 2 directions. And that tells me the baby has a 3-vessel umbilical cord. Great. Babies with 2-vessel cords, lots of them have genetic problems or a failure to thrive. We're going to come over here and we're going to measure the abdominal circumference, the waistline of the baby. We're going to put that together with the measurements we have of the head and the ones we're going to make of the arms and the legs. This is the femur bone. The femur bone is the biggest bone in our body. It goes from the hip to the knee, and from the knee down we have tibia, fibula right here, and the little legs. Thank you, kid. You got your legs stretched out. Yeah. Good-o. And there we go. And this is the bottom of the foot. It's a flat bottom foot. The baby's feet are not clubbed. Good, we don't want club feet. The humerus is the big bone in the arm. It goes from the shoulder to the elbow, right there. That's the humerus. Some people call it the funny bone. People have never broken it, and we'll put that in. And then the radius and ulna are the two bones that go back to the hand, which are by the face. And there's the fingers right there. The placenta is an anterior placenta. It's a ceiling above the baby. It is not blocking the door out. No placenta previa. The cervix is long. It's closed. There's no evidence for funneling. That means it is not prematurely trying to open up. And there is a normal amount of amniotic fluid surrounding the baby at this time. Now, we're going to put the numbers together. The baby tells me 19 weeks, 5 days. That's on the money. I get a minute after midnight on the 25th. You're a minute before midnight. Same thing. The baby has symmetry. 19, 19, 19, 19. It has the right size head for the right size body, right size legs for the right size head, and the baby weighs 11 ounces, which is right on the money for a baby at this time. In fact, no matter what graph I look at, this baby is in the normal range. Now, we're not going to change the due date. We leave it as October 24th, and we see the baby is glued together correctly. Now, babies at this time don't have fat on their face, and when you look at them, they can look a little bit funny. But I like to look at them. What I like to look for is upper lips. So we're going to come over here. We're going to see if we can get this baby to look at us. And we're going to look for the upper lip. Let's turn this face around. Oh, there we go. You got your hand right on your face, little one. And right in here is the baby's upper lip. And the lip is intact. It is not a cleft lip. We don't want a defect in here. Well, let's try to get a better picture of it. Yeah. And we'll come back here. Good. Let's do that again. Hey, quit playing. Get your hands off your face. And there we go. We'll put this in, and there's the little hand right there. Has a beautiful chin. No micrognathia, no shortening of the chin, no sloping forehead. That would be a problem. Babies with genetic problems have short chins and recessed foreheads. Your baby doesn't. And let's try this again. Still got its hand on its face, being very secretive. Oh boy. And we'll put it. But again, the upper lip is intact. Now at this point, let's put this little heartbeat in, because I love heartbeats. 120 to 180, normal, typical for them, and this kid is 149 beats a minute. Normal for them. And do you have any questions at this time?
Oh, we never actually got to find out the sex of the baby.
Yeah, when you're pregnant, I'll tell you. Meanwhile, do you have a question? Yes, he has a question. Why don't you ask me?
Yeah, I like to know. Like,
This is a beautiful, beautiful little boy. There's a
Wow.
penis right there. Hey, you, quit playing around with me again. Now it's gonna cross its legs. Oh, come on. Beautiful little boy. Now you're being shy. I'm glad I saw it before. Healthy baby boy. Is that a big deal? Yeah, healthy is the big deal. Boy, I don't care about it. Grandma does, but I don't. Yeah, it's a terrible picture, but I'll label it anyway. Male, healthy boy.
How are you able to tell if it's a boy or a girl?
Boys have penises,
Right,
girls have labias.
Right.
How do you tell?
No, I mean on in the photo.
Because you look between the legs, and when you look between the legs, and this one has its legs crossed, but you look for, in this particular, there it is, there's a penis right in there. Now this baby has its legs crossed, and it's being shy, but before, when I started, I saw it very clearly. And that's what it is. I don't get it wrong. And at this point, we are in good shape here. The important thing is that it looks very healthy for today.
Thank you.
I took some pictures for you,
Thank you so much.
put them in the photo album. Now, when babies get to be about 30 weeks, then they have fat on their face, and then they look like almost like photographs. Today, they're just bony little